I'm Ben Davis, wartime commander of the 99th Fighter Squadron.
So General Benjamin Davis Jr. Is my great uncle. So he was an uncle on my dad's side. I sometimes imagine what he would think if he knew that they were going to dedicate a barracks named after him. He had a unique relationship with West Point. It was part of his reason for being successful, but his time there was very conflicted. So he entered into class in 1932, and upon entering West Point, they were not aware that he was a black American. So when he arrived on campus, he thought they would be following the code of duty, honor, and respect, when in turn, they ended up silencing him for these 4 years, and he found that out because they were having a meeting. So the more you would talk to Ben just growing up, he would tell you occasional stories here and there, but he was always positive, because the reality is him complaining about it wasn't going to do anything. He never complained about his days at West Point. He never complained about his treatment. He never complained about anything that people did to him, because his whole point was, I need to use this life to go as far as I can and to build a path for people behind me. It's going to do anyone any good for me to complain, because nothing's ultimately going to happen. I have to take a leadership responsibility and I have to move my way up. So he was very positive.
Davis Barracks is the first barracks to be built at West Point since the 1970s. I think that Pershing Barracks is the oldest, and that was built in 1895. And I think Bradley was built in 1972. And the others are varying ages between there. So building a new barracks at West Point is really a big deal in expanding that capacity. Over the last 10 to 15 years, we've done a lot of barracks upgrades on our other bases throughout the Army inventory. And really the barracks upgrade and remodeling and new construction at West Point is the last of the barracks projects.
So we've been working here at the Academy for the past 3.5 years. The first year of the job, we blasted about 150,000 cubic yards of rock off of this job site just to build the foundation for this building. It is a masonry reinforced building, so poured concrete throughout the entire building. It has a lot of finer details. As you walk around through the building, you'll notice the front of the building with the curtain wall details and the precast.
So as a West Point graduate, I am uniquely suited to this position. It is very cool for me to be here. I graduated in 2007, and all 4 years I stayed in Sherman Barracks, which overlooks the Davis Barracks site. So I have skin in the game. I care about West Point, I care about this project, and I want it to be something that serves cadets for generations to come.
As such, when you are building at a school of learning, everyone's going to take a look at that project and see what kind of learning skills can be incorporated into the building. So putting energy efficiency measures in and making them responsive to the students. There was a lot of student input, cadet input, that went into the design of the barracks, that went into the design of the rooms, the layouts of the rooms, some feedback as to how the rooms could be more usable to them. So it's really an amazing project, and I think the cadets are going to be enjoying it for many years to come.
And just a magnificent building built here right in the center of campus. So that is one of the major challenges we've had to deal with on this project, is dealing with the campus impacts. There's been a lot of blasting, rock drilling, and a lot of noise. Meanwhile, the cadets are required to study and go to school. So that has been a major impact to them, and we appreciate their patience as we've constructed this building.
Davis Hall is very interesting in that there is a air conditioning systems, heating and cooling system there that is not used anywhere else throughout West Point. One of the interesting things we see with climate changes throughout the United States is there is now a need to air condition barracks at West Point, where they have been un-air conditioned for many a year. So with this new heating and cooling load and a desire to be more energy efficient, they put in a radiant heating and cooling system. And so that means that the heating and cooling is done through pipes that are buried in the floors. This system has been exposed in certain areas, so students, engineering students, have an opportunity to study it and understand it, and perhaps do some modeling or analysis on it as to the benefits that it is giving to the university.
Recently we had an opportunity to meet with part of the Davis family, and the words that he said is, "This building is amazing, it's magnificent, and it's an honor for his family to have such a structure named after them, and it's a real honor to be involved with a project like this."
Of all of the West Point graduates to be selected to put your name on the building, it was an honor, and I immediately called my dad, and he couldn't believe it. And even as I talk to you right now, it's unbelievable. This whole experience has personified West Point. Before the barrack opening, I had never been to West Point, and when I reached out to them about the barrack opening, West Point was so inviting, and they had me, come up and introduce me to so many different people, and now I've been up there a few times. And I think one of the things that this experience has done for me is really helped personify West Point for me, and even for my dad, who couldn't remember the last time he was up there. Ben had only gone up there one time at his 50th anniversary graduation. But I think that the experience has been very important for me personally, but also the surprise was when I got there and they showed me all these things about West Point and the historian, and then I turned to the right and there was 4 gentlemen with a hat and a yellow vest, and they go, "We're from the Army Corps of Engineers and we want to show you the building." And that was when I said, "This is amazing."
But it's a great story of resilience. It's a great story of coming back together. It's a great story of perseverance, and it's a great inspiration that every time one of our cadets has the opportunity to walk into this barracks and to be reminded of the legacy of Benjamin O. Davis, you can't help but be inspired by the values and the character of what he stood for.
West Point is truly the gem in the Army inventory. It has some of the oldest buildings that we have, and every building on West Point campus is built to be architecturally significant. So when you look at how you manage our history and look toward the past while ensuring that we're meeting the needs of the future, that is all a challenge there. But the architecture there is so unique and so significant, and built on such a challenging site where in one building you might have to go through 5 levels, entering at the ground floor and leaving at a ground floor in the same building, make it really an interesting challenge of construction, operations, maintenance, ensuring that we're preserving our history while training our students for the future. And so I think it's something that everyone is embracing the opportunities there, but doing it in a way that is responsive to the needs of the environment and understanding of the resources that we have available. And really thanks to everyone who participated in this project, from the designers, the contractors, and the engineers who really made this project successful.